Hey guys, OG Albina here, and as many of you know, power creep is the single biggest problem in competitive singles Pokemon. Each coming generation, it seems that the Pokemon introduced get stronger and stronger, leaving the older, lesser Pokemon to languish in the background, never seeing the competitive light again. Because of this, I've decided to make this series in which I take some forgotten and unfortunately bad Pokemon that you all suggest to me in the comments. Go ahead, suggest in the comments, go, now, go. And bring them up to speed so that they can once again occupy a competitive niche. This series is therefore aptly called Fixing Your Favorites. If you guys enjoyed today's episode of Fixing Your Favorites, be sure to drop a like on the video as well as subscribe to the channel. We are so close to getting to 2,000 subs. We're already at 1.6 right now last time I checked. And if everybody that watches this video subs, we'll get there. So really, there's no reason to not get there, right? If you're enjoying it, you're liking it, dropping a like, commenting, go ahead and drop a sub. I'd appreciate it. Alrighty, let's jump on to our first Pokemon. First up, we have one of my absolute favorite Pokemon native to the Sinnoh region in Drapion. This Scorpionmon has a phenomenal typing in Poison and Dark, as each of its typing's weaknesses is pretty well covered by the other. For example, Dark's weakness to Fairy being covered by Poison, and Poison's weakness to Psychic being covered by Dark. It has seen solid usage in lower tiers, but has never had the oomph it needs to push it into the higher tiers. Today, we'll be giving it that push. The Dark type is often referred to as essentially the evil type. So you know what? We're gonna act a little evil. Some might say, wicked. Yes, we're giving Drapion Wicked Blow. I know, it seems a little wild, but hear me out. First off, he just looks wicked. Second, Wicked Blow is actually nerfed in base power in this generation from 80 to 75, making it a tad weaker. This weaker base power and weaker base attack compared to Urshifu's Single Strike will be made up for in a big way. Drapion has the Sniper ability, which will further boost the damage of critical hits, and if you pair this with a stab move that will always crit and doesn't have any immunities, you have a really strong breaker on your hands. Also remember that one of the most common types to resist Wicked Blow will be Fairy types, and we've already established that Drapion's secondary stab and Poison will rip through those very well. We will also be adding the Elemental Punches and Sucker Punch to Drapion's arsenal to further bolster its coverage. These new moves will make a massive threat out of Drapion, on top of its ability to either Sword Dance, Agility, or both. Lastly, we'll be buffing Drapion's HP by just a bit by 10 up to base 80. Like I said previously, Drapion's defensive typing is great. It's always been a good Assault Vest user as well as a great Toxic Spike setter. This boost in its HP stat will round out its bulk and help it function in either these fatter roles or even find more opportunities to set up a Sword Stance. It's officially time to talk about our first Paldean Pokemon, which will be Revavroom. This Pokemon was immensely hyped up pre-launch of the new games. We didn't know its name or typing at that point, but we knew it was a new Pokemon and a Pokemon of importance to Team Star. And even in-game, these Team Star battles really built up this Pokemon as the driving forces behind the immensely powerful Starmobiles. They even had cool signature moves and abilities. Unfortunately, once we saw Revavroom in actual battles, it was incredibly underwhelming. It was supposed to function as a strong shift gear sweeper, but it just didn't have the tools to do so. First up, we'll be giving Revavroom the hidden ability, Speed Boost. It's literally an engine, and this great ability will help it get the ball rolling with a sweep. A shift gear into a speed boost will lead to literally nothing outpacing this guy. We'll also be giving Revavroom access to its story mode exclusive Torque moves, which are the Fire type Blazing Torque, that has a 30% burn chance, the Dark type Wicked Torque that has a 10% sleep chance, the Poison type Noxious Torque that has a 30% chance to poison the target, and the Fairy type Magical Torque that has a 30% confusion rate, and finally the Fighting type Combat Torque that has a 30% paralysis chance. These are all great moves with great type coverage for Pokemon that Revavroom can kind of struggle with. Blazing Torque and Combat are great in particular. We'll also be making its current signature move and Spin Out a bit different. We'll be making it to where it no longer drops Revavroom's speed by 2 stages, but instead we'll be making it 90% accurate. This makes the move much more usable. There's still a downside to clicking a strong base 100 power stab move, but at least you're not lowering your speed. Lastly, I have a few more moves that I want to add to Revavroom's move pool. These moves will both bolster its move pool and they make way too much sense thematically. It actually drives me insane that it doesn't already get these. First up is High Horsepower. Do I even need to say anything? Like, seriously? The car engine can't learn High Horsepower. Plus, this is great coverage for those fat, annoying Steels and Fire types. Lastly is Wild Charge. This one isn't as egregious as High Horsepower, but it still makes a ton of sense that the car, or I guess engine, can Wild Charge, or Wildly Charge. It's also nice for those super annoying bulky waters, or even a random Corviknight. I know we added a lot of coverage to Revavroom here, but I don't think it's too crazy with mediocre stats defensively and pretty bad defensive typing. We're going to be making a quick U-turn in our Revavroom powered car and picking up another friend in Sinnoh. That's going to be Rampardos. This Pokemon is the poster child for the idea that strength doesn't mean everything. I mean, this dude has a base 165 attack stat, and he's quite literally unusable. The reason for that is its overall stat spread. It's strong, but it's incredibly slow. It's rocking out with a meager base 58 speed. You're not outpacing much with that. On top of that, its bulk is pretty awful with a spread of 97 HP, 60 defense, and 50 speed F, meaning you crumble the most attacks. Plus, Pure Rock is so weak to so many common typings that you're going to get hit pretty hard, pretty often. Therefore, first off, we'll be buffing Rampardos' stats. We're going to take base 30 away from its special attack to make some space for these buffs. First off is speed, and I can't just make Rampardos base 110 speed because it'd be funny. No, he's ancient, slow, and a rock type. He can't be that laughably fast. I will be buffing it by a slight base 7 to bring it up to base 65. This may seem pretty slow, but it'll ensure it outpaces pretty much any fatter Pokemon, allowing it to brutalize more defensive playstyles. I'll also be buffing its defense by a base 15 and Spidef by a base 10. This catches up Rampardos' bulk with its decent base HP stat and allows it to have a little bit more survivability, whether that be to throw off more attacks, or even set up a Swords Dance or Rock Polish with its better base speed. I have two more proposals for Rampardos, the first of which is a Cell Rock. This is a priority rock type move exclusive to the Lycanroc line that will circumvent its terrible speed even better, allowing it to go first a majority of the time and get off a strong hit, especially if boosted. Lastly is the addition of Rockhead, because, well, his head is a rock. Plus, this makes head smashes nauseatingly strong, and that's cool. Rampardos would still be slowish and somewhat exploitable, but between a Cell Rock for offensive teams and its natural ability to melt fat teams, it'll have some great usage outside of your Pokemon Platinum Nuzlocke. Next up, we have our second Unova starter of this series, an Emboar. The worst of the three firefighting starters, we're going to do our best to bring him up to speed, and at least comparable to Blaziken and Infernape. Speaking of bringing it up to speed, that's what we're focusing on first. Like Rampardos before it, I can't justify making this thing too fast, or even faster than base Blaziken, but I will be buffing its base speed by 10. Base 75 will make it a bit better in its Choice Scarf roll, and make it better with a Band or a Life Orb against fatter teams. Next up, we're going to boost up our boy's move pool. It needs close combat. Every fighting type and their mom gets it, especially as of recent generations, so it only makes sense. Superpower is strong, but the loss of attack after using it makes it much less spammable. We'll also be giving Emboar Drain Punch for a weaker, but no drawback stab fighting move. This will work great on bulk up sets or even random Assault Vest variants. I also want to give it Slack Off. Again, this makes bulk up sets much more viable, and really ups the survivability of reckless boosted recoil moves that we'll be spamming, like Flare Blitz and Wild Charge. Let's be real, Emboar will never be Infernape or Blaziken, but hey, this at least makes him better. And he'll always have the best shiny of the three. Last up, we're going to take a look at an Ice type from the same region as Emboar, Beartic. Ice type saw a great buff this gen, with Snow, formerly Hail, now boosting the defense of Ice types while active. Unfortunately, Beartic still isn't great, but it's just a few tweaks away from being a super solid Pokemon. First up, we're going to be giving it a secondary Water typing. It's never a bad thing to be a Water type. Plus, this adds great stab options for its Liquidations and Aqua Jets, and even more of a boost in the rain on Swift Swim sets. We'll also throw in Close Combat for similar reasons as Emboar. Basically just that superpower kinda sucks. Flip Turn will also be added to give Beartic a strong pivoting option. I'll also be buffing Beartic's speed by base 20 to make it function a bit better in either the snow or rain as a great breaker or sweeper with Slush Rush and Swift Swim. Then lastly, we'll be swapping out its kinda useless third ability in Snow Cloak for Fur Coat. Talk about a defense boost. This plus Snow makes this guy very bulky, giving a bulkier variant as an option inside or outside of the snow. These tools will make Beartic much more fun to play with in the builder, and much scarier when you see it on the opposing side of the field. Thank you guys so much for watching this iteration of Fixing Your Favorites. I tried to pick some fun ones, some more recent ones out of the comments, but again, you gotta let me know what you want to see next in the comments below. Even if you've commented before, you gotta let me know so I can see it again. There's a million comments on these videos. I'm sure I've forgotten your favorite if I haven't done it by at this point. But let me know which ones you want to see next. I'll be picking 5 for the next video. They'll hopefully be out in the next few weeks. And yeah, again, if you guys enjoyed, I implore you to sub. Again, we're getting closer to 2K. I just hit 1K in August. If I could hit 2K within the next month or two, oh my gosh, it would be such a wonderful feeling. And I would appreciate it a ton if you help me out along that. And, you know, it lets me know that you're enjoying this content. I put a lot of effort into these videos and making them. And my editor does a killer job at editing these and getting them out to you quickly. So it really does help us and, you know, makes the work feel worth it and things like that. So I'd appreciate it a ton. Again, drop a like if you enjoyed, sub if you're new, all that stuff, YouTuber plugin. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.